Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Source, Rulebreakers, Lawmakers, and Influencers. I'm here again with Gigi Arkellian from Gigi Travels 24/7 and the soon-to-be-named Gigi podcast and Gigi website. So,
hi, everyone.
Wanted to start with an affirmation. So
that would be lovely. Yes, I would like to share this affirmation with the viewers. Hope everybody's having an amazing week. And you can go ahead and repeat if you would like. And the affirmation of the day is, I am giving myself compassion and grace to grow as I learn. And I now understand that my experiences are designed to get me closer to who I am. And every situation makes me more confident in my abilities and helps me become stronger and wiser with my fullest potential. And I am in all ways leveling up to more blessings. Hi, everybody, and thank you again, William, for having me.
You're welcome.
This is amazing to interact with your audiences, and hopefully, I will leave a positive impact.
Awesome. So, it's interesting. As I was listening to your affirmation.
Yes.
And I think the challenge with a lot of affirmations is that we put time into the equation, right? Where it becomes sort of aspirational instead of immediate, right?
Yes, definitely.
So, I'm giving myself compassion and grace to grow as I learn, right? Doesn't it feel more authority to say, I am passionate grace? And I am learning.
Definitely, of course, because we need to be content because, we're always evolving and we're always, we want to grow. And growth, of course, requires to be more aware.
Awareness is everything. It all starts
definitely
with awareness, right? And so we talk about, I now understand that my experiences are designed to get me closer to who I am. To get me closer, right? No, my experiences are designed to show me who I am, right?
Yes.
Right, because I'm always me, right?
And you always have to give that, grace and compassion to yourself.
Correct.
So you always need to speak very honorably when you're talking to yourself, because we understand that we create our own thoughts.
We create our reality.
And reality as well. So we need to be very mindful when we are speaking to ourselves, since, we are in ever flow, ever evolving, ever growing. So always have that compassion and speak kindly to yourself when you wake up in the mornings too.
Yeah.
So,
there's acceptance of who you are, but not being content with who you are, meaning that I can accept who I am, right? I can accept what my limitations are at the current moment. I can also accept that I created those limitations, right?
Yes.
Perfect example. Right now, I'm about 10 pounds heavier than I want to be, right? If I look back to October of last year, I was 10 pounds lighter. My routine was a little better, right? Et cetera. Now I can look in the mirror and I can berate myself and say, oh, you're 10 pounds overweight. Oh, that's because you eat, cookies and cake again, right? Oh, you're doing all these things wrong, instead of just accepting, right? Okay, I created this body for whatever reason. Maybe it was a way for me to remind myself of how powerful I am, that I could go from being in shape to not so in shape, going back to being in shape, right? Yeah. And then realize who my true self really wants to be, right? But I can accept and love myself in the moment without being
criticizing. Yes.
Without criticizing, but also it doesn't mean that I'm content in that moment. I still have my goals and aspirations, right, that I want fulfilled.
Yes, definitely. That's why it's always like this growing process, and but at the same time we need to speak very kindly at those moments too. So when you're realizing that you're not the optimal shape that you want to be, or the health, then what are the steps that you are taking in order to progress to the optimal pounds, let's say, that you want to, like, what did you set a goal already? Is that your New Year's resolution to be fit this year? Then what are the steps that you're taking to get to that point?
Yeah, exactly. And just being honest, right? Being honest with yourself. And there's seasons to everything.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
There is a one way of looking at it is like, okay, I gave myself permission to really enjoy life, and especially it's season now, right? Here in the Palm Beach area.
Yes.
A lot of political things going on, a lot of dinners, a lot of lunches, a lot of this, a lot of that, right? So on the one hand, it's like giving yourself permission to enjoy the season, and then saying, okay, well, when season's over, right, I won't be exposed to all of the rich meals and the wine and the food, and so okay, I'm gonna just get back on track after season ends, right? Versus getting up and beating myself up every morning and say, like, oh man, I hate this about myself, or I hate that about myself, or
just take the needed steps to optimize your goal. So even if it takes small steps, you're still walking, you're still being positive. So that's what counts in life.
Exactly.
And
the only point I really wanted to make is, like, we tend to put time in the equation, right? And time, a lot of time, most often equates to happiness.
Overanalyzing, yes. Overanalyzing the situations in life.
Well, but more so, time delays happiness, right? I'll be happy when I get this car. I'll be happy when I have this much money. I'll be happy when I have this body, right? I'll be happy, when whatever happens, right? When the reality is that it all happens in here, right? Success, happiness, love is an inside job.
Definitely.
Right? If you wake up every morning and you love yourself, you can accept yourself. Doesn't mean that you don't want to change things. Doesn't mean that you don't want to evolve, right? But instead of I will be this when. I will be happy when I get into a relationship, right? Somehow a relationship is going to complete me versus I complete myself.
I would consider it this way. I think if one is going through a process of rediscovering, then the person needs to first and foremost find that happiness within. So develop, have those tools in order, to have the strength. Sometimes you need to be in solitude. Yeah. And in order to find the happiness within, so you can share very gracefully to the rest of the world, not superficially, but gracefully, because the person who has done the process of discovering himself or herself will definitely, by just having even a 10-15 minute conversation with you, will realize whether you're still in the process or you have already acquired the right insight in order to form a relationship, since we're going discussing about relationships. So the happiness starts within. I think, as you mentioned, it's an inside job. So once you feel fulfilled in all levels, and we did discuss, and you said that I should have this is going to be my label, the pies of love. So on all levels, if you're aligned physically, intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually, then of course you will fulfill that happiness with your forever partner, or with the connection or relationship that you're forming at the moment. And always have this joyful, I think we need to have joy in any circumstances. And Romans 12:12, actually the book of Romans is one of my favorite books. And as Paul mentions, you need to be joyful in hope. So in whatever season that you're in at the moment, just be joyful in hope, and
that's really
patient in affliction, even if you're going through any struggles.
Well, what it really means, what he's saying is to just be in the present moment.
Definitely,
right?
Definitely.
And the only thing you have is the present moment. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the actual verse, but it's more about, not looking to the future nor relying on the past, right? But really, to your point,
living
to be joyful in this moment.
In this moment, in the present, and enjoy every moment that you have. Surround yourself with like-minded people. I think that's extremely important in order to always have that joy. In order to have joy, of course, you need to have positive environment, and surround yourself with the same like-minded people if you want to get and receive the fruits of your labor. People sometimes when you are going through stages and developing and rediscovering yourself, sometimes it is challenging to go through the process alone. I think if you do not have the ability to surrender, and sometimes you need to surrender in order to go through that stage and break through from the old version of yourself. Because in order to become the best version of yourself, you need to say lots of goodbyes too.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, they say, show me the 10 people that you hang out with, and I'll show you how successful you are, right?
Yeah, that's
same thing that goes with your.
That's yes, that's an ultimate statement, and it's a true statement. And if you have, mastered the art of detachment, so you do need to master the art of detaching from your past. If you are willing to live in the moment, in the present, and have a more fruitful, more passionate life in the future.
So let me ask you, what is your definition of detachment?
Detachment means, whatever is pulling you down, or if you're surrounded with people and circumstances that you don't feel uplifted. If the circumstance doesn't uplift you, then what is it that you do in order to get yourself out of that circumstance, out of in relationships too, and mainly, I think our emotions and feelings are, however you want to put it, it does revolve around relationships, who you're with, connection with,
Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, okay. What's your approach? I would like to hear yours.
Well, that feels very outer referral, that it's, how I feel in my circumstances are based on the people around me, right? And that's, again, everything is an inside job, right?
Definitely.
Success is an inside job. Love is an inside job.
Yeah.
Relationships are inside jobs, right? So when I'm saying that somebody outside of me can cause a feeling in me, then that's not me being sovereign to me. Right?
Definitely. But what is your, so at the moment, if that is the circumstance, let's say you are in a long-term marriage, correct? So there are circumstances that, there is going to be barriers that you need to face in order to overcome that, because there is people, who are instead of, you giving your hand to rescue them out of the circumstances in order, them to receive that help or guidance, they want to pull you down. It does happen.
Well,
and
I think you have to be very clear with why. What are your motivations for doing things? Perfect example is
yes.
Okay, I love you. Right now, am I saying I love you because I want you to say you love me back? Am I saying I love you just because I want to express love for you, and whatever way that lands? Right, then that's fine with me. I think to your point about, especially in relationships, a lot of times we do things to self-validate, right?
Yes,
not necessarily
definitely.
because we're being truly altruistic with our wishes. Right?
Definitely. We need to realize and analyze that, in order to form that relationship, if you're in a relationship and it is, if it is weighing you down, if there is no harmony, if there's disharmony, there's dissonance, then, you need to reconsider that relationship. And as we were discussing in the beginning, so there is signs that we should consider. So signs that maybe you are in a relationship that is not favored by God. It's very simple, and I broke it down in 5. I think we have 5. Yes. Different concepts that I would like to discuss a little bit and touch upon. So if there's lack of peace, correct? So if you're always arguing and there's no you don't come to
compromise
the same conclusion.
Compromise is not really the right word. It's to your point. Conclusion.
If you don't have a resolution in an amicable manner,
alignment.
Yes,
you need to come to alignment.
Yes, definitely. And if there's always dissonance, then it means that there's lack of peace, and you're not aligned on the same level correctly, and maybe you're not equally yoked. And we would like, if you want more details, so I do have a program. And it does discuss more about the topic. And so it talks about the peace of God guarding our hearts. So if you are feeling constant unrest or anxiety in a relationship, it might be a sign that this is in the path that, you should be in.
Yeah.
If it's constant, if there is no resolution, and you're living in a relationship that is, instead of expanding and you're not feeling that bliss, and you've been in it for not only 2 years, 3 years, maybe a decade, and instead of having this beautiful fulfilled relationship, it deteriorates. And what are you doing to yourself? Do you consider your health? Do you consider what is happening with you emotionally? Are you emotionally balanced in that relationship? So you should ask those questions and reconsider, because we're not here. God didn't create us to be on this earth to be someone else's savior. We have already a savior. We have a creator, and God is our savior. And we're not here to sacrifice our own happiness for somebody else who's not ready to evolve and grow and be on your same level. So we're not here to compromise on a sacrificial level, and we're not here to also rescue someone. They need to come to their own conclusion. They need to grow and evolve and have the insight so they can rescue themselves out of their circumstances.
Well, it goes back to awareness, right?
Yes.
Jesus said, you're focusing on the speck in my eye while you ignore the plank in yours.
Definitely,
right? So,
definitely.
it all comes to knowing yourself.
Yes.
Right.
And always, if you're in a situation and circumstance, and let's say you are going through this, brutal, life-altering circumstance, always leave it to God. So don't take that vengeance, revenge, anything, even if you're going through turbulent, let's say, circumstances, correct? So always leave it to God to give the resolution. because we're here, but you need to, of course, remove yourself out of that equation. But the rest, I think you need, it's
well, what you're saying is that you still need to take action in the relationship, whether
definitely,
positive
and
to
yes.
end it, whether it means ending it or trying to figure out and creating alignment again. But
Correct.
as far as feeling that you need to make them pay or suffer for what you perceived were the wrongs, like that's where you leave it to God.
Leave it to God, yes, because God is a righteous God, and He will give the righteous judgment to any circumstance. And the next one is persistent doubts. So if you're always doubting, whether you're in the right relationship or not, right? So doubts James actually is very relevant. The book of James is, just a few pages, and it resonates currently like with our lives at the minute that we're going through. Everyone, the entire world is going through doubts, and just globally we're facing. But how are you? Is your faith being wavered while you are going through the turbulence? You just need to be firm in your beliefs. So it mentions doubting like a wave of the sea driven by the wind. So if doubts keep coming back, no matter how much you try to shake them, then it could be a sign to again reevaluate the circumstance and the relationship that you're in. And conflicting values. We did touch on the subject, but if there is conflicting values, if there is, the moral codes that are being violated in the relationship, then ask, can two walk together except they be agreed? If your core values and beliefs constantly clash with your partner, it might be a sign that you're not in the right relationship. So
I think I agree with what you're saying, but I think too many of us don't take the time to write down and understand what are our core values. Because when you're in a relationship, especially if you're in a relationship where there's lack of peace or alignment or persistent doubts, you need to be very clear about who you are and what you value in order to judge whether this relationship is empowering for you and you're going to move forward with it, or disempowering and you need to free yourself as well as them, right? Because so many people stay in relationships because they want security, because they're afraid to be alone.
They're afraid to be alone. I think that's the key. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're doing them a disservice just as much as you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're really holding them back from finding the person that maybe they should be with.
Yes.
And
definitely.
same for yourself, right?
Yes.
And so, yeah, I think for me, the conflicting values is really important, because it goes back to what we started the conversation on, like knowing yourself, right? And being clear about yourself. Well, knowing yourself means, what do I want to accomplish in this life, right? What's my mission? What's my vision for my life? Do you align with my mission and my vision, that we can grow something together? And do I align with your mission and vision? Now, your mission and my mission might be, I want to have a positive impact on humanity and I want to help people. Your vision and mission might be, I want to go to Africa and live there to help people. That doesn't align with my mission, right? I don't want to move to Africa. But, is there an alignment where, like, hey, every weekend we go and we volunteer, right? And we feed the homeless, or we go read to children, or, right, something like that. So, I think it's being clear of, like, just because I say my mission is X, your mission doesn't have to be X. Your vision can be Y, but together our vision is Z.
Yes,
right? It marries my vision, your vision, and we create something even better together.
You can even start growing the visions like in parallel if you are aligned, and then maybe while you're walking this adventure called life, you might meet, at the level. I think, that's possible too, because sometimes, in this walks of life, people do have, before forming a relationship, of course, you do have, you created your life, right?
Yeah.
So you do have your own personal.
You created it whether you like it or not.
Yes.
Right? So
And,
all of the decisions that you made have led you to this moment.
Definitely. But
Right?
if you are already on a mission, it means that you have surpassed and overcame through the obstacles, because now you're focused.
Yeah.
Because you're not just developing now, you're already have gone through the development process, and you just need that the power move.
Yeah.
And maybe the person who can stand by you. And so to form a power couple, in order to form a power couple, then yes, the core values need to be perfectly aligned on all levels.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, I mean, it's really just taking the time to figure out to you, to your point about being ready for a relationship, right? What's the vision for my life? What's my mission, right? And what are my values?
And how purpose-driven are you in order to
also,
accomplish?
There are certain things that are non-negotiables, right?
Definitely.
And then there are certain things that are negotiable, right? Like, would you date a smoker? Would you date someone who has children? Would you date someone who has young children, right? You may say like, oh, I'm willing to date someone who has children, but I would want those children to be teenagers so that I can have more of a travel lifestyle with my partner, based on my age and where I am in life.
Definitely.
Versus I'm willing to be with someone who has a 2 and 3 year old, which is a lot of time, a lot of
That's
attention,
conflicting. Yes,
right?
yes.
So really just being honest with yourself and knowing yourself, right? And it doesn't make you right or wrong. It doesn't make the other person right or wrong. It's just, to your point, there's not that alignment.
Definitely.
And so then you have another one down there, which is
yes, negative influence. So when we did discuss, so who are you surrounding? With so warns that bad company corrupts good character, and it's so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So always that it's very important. It's very crucial to surround yourself with the right people, like-minded people, who are also optimistic, and you have a passion in life. Because some people they go through this life on autopilot.
Yeah.
So no passion. It just we wake
No
up
awareness.
with the same routine.
Yeah. No personal sovereignty, no understanding. Again, it goes to what's your mission, what's your vision, what's your values, right? Because if you're truly honest with yourself and you're living them, then you're less susceptible to this negative influence because you're going to recognize it, right?
Yes.
If you're clear with yourself, you're more easily able to recognize, hey, wait a second, this person doesn't align with my values. Like, okay, if you... you look at drinking as a perfect example, right? Do you like to go, like for me, one of my things on a Friday night, if I'm in a relationship, like cook dinner together, share a bottle of wine, right? Saturday, kind of do some activities. Saturday night, maybe go out with friends. It's not going to a club and drinking until 2 a.m, sleeping late on Sunday and going to brunch with a hangover, right?
Yes.
So,
then, if that's your lifestyle, then how are you going to keep up with your health, right?
Right.
So when we know that health is happiness, so you need to be mindful. That is definitely true, especially here in South Florida. The lifestyle that you just described is very. It's publicly praised, unfortunately. But if you already chose the healthy route, the healthy lifestyle, then of course you're very selective, and you need to be more selective when you are out in the dating scene and the dating world.
Yeah. Well, and negative influence is more easily identifiable when you're clear on what your values are.
Definitely, and if you're with a person who is also easily influenced, let's say he's with you, or she is, and she's on her best manners. But how does that person behave when you're not around?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's their true character and their integrity.
So I think it's very beneficial, if you're forming a relationship. This is my own opinion, of course, but again, from a life experience, that you need to travel with the person that you want to formally. Travel is very important in order to understand the person's character. And
because travel doesn't always go the way you planned. And to see how people react to stress and frustration.
Are they reacting, or they are more observing, and you will learn a lot from that experience, from the travel experience. And it depends, what season in life you're in, and what your age range is. But people who have gone through a relationship or a breakup, and did already go through seasons of life, I think it's very beneficial if you're taking the relationship on a serious level to live with the person for at least 6 months before tying the knot, before full commitment. I think it's very important.
Interesting for a Christian girl to say that.
It's very important.
And so what's number 5?
I think it is important, because you will never know who the person is if you don't live with them. And why commit to somebody and then realize I've made a catastrophic mistake with my life?
Yeah, I agree. And number 5?
Yes. So number 5 is closed doors. So this is a book of Revelation, of course. Okay. It's one of the most dynamic and one of the most important books. It's the last book of my favorite book, and I call it Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth, Survival. And so
what does closed doors mean?
Closed doors. So in Revelations, if you would like to read, you can read chapter 3:8. This is very important. That's why I would like to emphasize where I found my information from. So speaks about God opening and closing doors. Sometimes repeated obstacles in a relationship can be God's way of saying this isn't the right person for you. So if there's an obstacle, the same process, the same argument, the same circumstance that keeps repeating day after day, week after week, weekend after weekend, what are you waiting for again? It wasn't designed then. Maybe it was for you to learn a lesson that don't put yourself in circumstances that that there is not going to be a good outcome. Don't be the rescuer again. Sometimes out of compassion, out of empathy, because you want that person, you see the person, that person in the best form, and you always give. I always see people there's potential. They have a potential. Why not just try to help them? Yes.
You give them too much authority.
Definitely.
Right? Of they're this or they're that, and I love this and I love that, but they do all these things. But you're like, I don't want to see those. I just want to see this, person I created in my head. But to your point about closed doors, is this happens in relationships. I think part of wisdom and discernment is this a pattern that I've seen before in other relationships that I'm not acknowledging? Because sometimes God will put you in a challenging relationship to see if you really learned the lesson.
If you learned the lesson, correct.
Right?
Yes.
So you were in this relationship 5 years ago, the exact same thing happened, right? Then you dated somebody different. Now you're back in this relationship. Right, and the same things are happening.
The same
Did
pattern,
you learn anything?
just different font, right? As you say, the same person, the same mindset, the same reality you formed again, but just a different, form, physicality.
Different face, different body.
Yes.
Right?
And
different name. Exactly. Same
behaviors. Yes. So that is definitely, one needs to be, very considerate. Because you might be
conscious.
in that. Conscious. And, be considerate when you are forming that relationship. maybe like, be more mindful, because maybe it's time for you like to change the paradigm that you're in.
Yeah.
I think that would be the easiest way to put it.
Yeah.
And
so if people,
of course, if you do need the guidance, then don't forget to contact me.
Yep.
So we can maybe
Gigi
shift
travels
you
24/7 at gmail.com.
Yes. So maybe we can get you out of that. The reality that you formed that is based on fake, false reality.
Yeah. Well, great talking to you again, Gigi. Thank you so much. I like your five. Your five. What did we call them? The five what?
Okay, so this is called the 5 signs that God does not want you to have a connection with someone.
Okay, the 5 signs. The guy doesn't want you to have a connection with someone. Gigi Arkellian reach out to her at Gigi travels 24/7 at gmail.com. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. See you next time on The Source. Rulebreakers, Lawmakers, and Influencers.